Thank you for continuing this journey with me into our studies of the occult. The first few pictures will be a quick review of innocent-looking areas that the enemy has out there to try to lure you down a wrong spiritual path. Remember the dog poo in the brownie. Here you see a Ouija board, which can be purchased at any store that sells games like Monopoly. There are many stories of people who have opened themselves up to danger by playing this game and emptying themselves out to be used by spirits. Here you see the tarot card reader interpreting these cards as a way of telling you your fortune and your future. The Bible is very clear that we are not to be involved with fortune tellers. If God tells us to avoid something, remember there must always be a very good reason behind it. Here you see people, probably in all innocence, thinking that they're having fun, trying to contact spirits of the dead through a séance. Again, this is extremely dangerous territory, especially as the medium or channeler opens themselves up to a spirit guide. The spirit guide then is supposed to contact other spirits, presumably the dead, to communicate with people around the table. The spirits involved in this are not there to help you, but they are demonic spirits attempting to lure you into a path prohibited by God. Remember, these spirits will try to come across as being friendly and to comfort and help you. Do not be deceived, beloved. Now, let's check out to see how you can give the enemy entrance points through some other involvements with the occult. Palm reading and teacup reading are some of the ways that the enemy uses to lure you away from God as your source of wisdom. Many people search for wisdom from other spiritual beings or human beings attempting to show that they have spiritual powers beyond the norm. Palm reading used to be very popular, and often palm readers were invited to parties to entertain those there with a reading. Sometimes curses can be pronounced on people through these readings. When she was a young lady, actually a young girl, a friend of mine was told that she would not have long to live, and then she developed leukemia. Fortunately, she gave her life to God and repented of her actions, and now is a happy, healthy grandmother. So be careful of the tricks out there. Here you're looking at horoscopes. They have a way of becoming addictive to some people. These people will build their day around the predictions in the paper. They give so much power over to these predictions that they seem to lose the ability to make their own decisions about life. This practice is often prohibited in the Bible, and you can see why when you see how people give up control over their own decisions over to their horoscopes. Wicca has become the fifth leading religion in the United States and is having great inroads with the young women of that country and also in Canada. It has become extremely popular in the high school crowd, especially among those who feel a strong desire to fit in and belong, or to overcome insecurities, or to have a sense of power over their situations in life. It can masquerade, calling itself white witchcraft, and can look like a beautiful way of blending with nature and sharing harmony with everything around you. It's such an important topic that I have dedicated the last of this series in the occult, called Occult 4, Wicca, to it. In our study of the occult, it doesn't take much to realize that witchcraft can become a dangerous lure to innocent seekers of power. It seems to draw people who want to focus on their own ability to control their environment and those around them. It is very hostile to the Christian religion. Here you can see how the Satanic Temple is attempting to break out of dark corners and move into the area where intellectuals live. It's hard to read the words on here clearly, but it says that the Harvard Extension Cultural Studies Club, that sounds very intellectual, doesn't it? Presents the Black Mass presented by the Satanic Temple with commentary and historical context. Then it tells you the date and time and place. You could feel quite intellectual and in control of things by going to see something put on by the Harvard Cultural Studies Club. Be careful of the hidden dangers. The satanic base of witchcraft often tries to counterfeit many of the rituals and resources of the Christian church. We saw the invitation to go to a black mass in the previous picture, and now you see a picture of the cover of the Satanic Bible. Satan cannot create. He is just a fallen angel, and he is not the creator God. However, he can counterfeit and lure people with deception and seduction. He seems to be able to find out our weak spots and zero in on them. Now this may come as a shock to you as it did to me. Satanism is moving into the junior and senior school levels with a program called After School Satan. Now, if you read the sign carefully, you will see at the bottom they are asking for donations to help counter evangelism in the schools. Obviously, the enemy realizes his time is running short on this planet, so he's causing as much trouble as he can before he's finally defeated. We need to be praying against programs like this. This can really influence young, curious minds. Signs like this are no longer hidden, but proclaimed for all to see. Here, you can see how Satanism is working its way into schools by appealing to vulnerabilities in the young people. Unbelievable that this is a signboard posted for all to see. It says, exercise your religious rights, yet it wants to destroy the rights of Christians in the schools. This is becoming an intense battle for the minds and souls of young people. Here again is a sign encouraging young children to go to the after-school Satan classes. God help these young people and protect them from the evil around them. Now, nothing needs to be said about this picture, where the school grants Satanic Temple permission to run after-school club for 10-year-olds. How horrible. Well, now that we've seen how the enemy is trying to reach very young children in the school systems, we should look at an ancient way brought into the modern world that the enemy has been reaching out to good men and their families in society. This is a sign for Freemasonry, and many of us will have Freemasonry somewhere down our family history, and perhaps not even know it. Freemasonry is very much like the dog poo in the brownie. It starts off seeming to do good, and in reality it does many good things in society. That's what makes up the brownie part. Then, hidden in deep layers, when a man moves up higher and higher into higher levels, the satanic background becomes exposed. However, because of the nature of the oaths that the men take, it is extremely dangerous, almost impossible, to break out of this cult when the truth is finally seen. Ex-Masons for Jesus is an organization of Christian men and women who were once members of a Masonic lodge or one of the affiliated Masonic organizations such as Eastern Star, Demole, Job's Daughters, or Rainbow Girls. Here's what they have said. Open quote here. We have left Masonry because of our commitment to Jesus Christ and a realization that Masonry is not consistent with a sincere expression of the Christian faith. We found that participation in Freemasonry interferes with a close relationship with Jesus Christ. And beloved, you know who wants to interfere with that most of all. And he is always on the search, finding ways that he can do that, interfere with our relationship with Jesus. Here's the continuation of the previous Masons. We seek to expose the non-Christian nature of the teachings of Freemasonry and to make ourselves available to witness and testify of our first-hand knowledge. Our purpose is to encourage others to renounce Freemasonry and, through education, to prevent still others from being seduced into joining. Now, there's a picture here that's called The Harrison Curse, and this is a novel which I wrote about a group called The Order. A lot of my research was based on my studies of Freemasonry and the horrible oaths that they must take. It is available as an ebook from Amazon.ca. It also tells the story of a small Ontario town in Canada filled with nominal Christians and how they react when the enemy begins to attack in full force. There's a lot of teaching built into the story about spiritual warfare, and it's a real eye-opener of our authority in Christ. I hope you get a chance to read it and enjoy. Now, a prayer for release from Freemasonry is a really good idea to do as a protection, even if you're not sure if there is any Freemasonry in your family line. So, if you hold the Control key down while you click the link below, you will see a prayer that you can say out loud to clear you and your family from any Freemasonry contamination. Now, I believe that the Apostle John was directed by God to write this because he knew that there will be many false supernatural tricks to lure searchers off the true path. This seems to be a way to test the truth. Groups must believe that Jesus Christ is God in the flesh, and they must be able to say that he is Lord of all. And so how to identify spirits which are not from God? John 4, verses 2 to 3. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, and every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. Now for our next study, we're going to deal with Wicca. So to find that, please go to Occult for Wicca. God bless you in your studies.